Isaiah Denis is going to give Carolina a really nice option off the bench. The question is, can he force his way into a crowded backcourt in year one?
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you so much for making us your first listener watch to get your Wednesday going the right way. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Want to welcome in all the everydayers, all the Locked On Tar Heels Discord members. We'd love to have you in there, by the way. The link's in the show notes, and all the great members of the Locked On Tar Heels Insiders program. That link is also in the show notes. Joining me today, our good buddy, Coach Pac Kilby. Pac, I think this is now 3 weeks in a row. We are rolling. That's how you know it's summertime and the living is easy, I think they say. This is week 2 of the Carolina Basketball Summer Preview Roster Series. I said a whole bunch of words. I don't think they went in the right order there. The Carolina Basketball Summer Roster Preview Series. This is week 2. Last week, we started with Caleb Wilson. This week, we move along in the freshman with Isaiah Denis. Next week, we'll wrap up the freshman class. I just said Isaiah. Did I say Isaiah Dixon?
I think you said Dennis. Maybe
okay, yeah. You know what? I totally said Isaiah Denis. If you're listening or watching, rewind it, check the tape, and tell me how dumb I am. No, Isaiah Denis, and then next week we'll wrap the freshman class with Derek Dixon. That's going to be tough to keep straight all year long. So where we'll head today, we'll have our Isaiah Denis Bioblast brought to you by none other than Pac Kilby himself. We'll look at strengths and weaknesses. We'll look at, will a player like him stick around and develop in this day and age? Expected role, bold predictions, over-under, and so much more coming up about Isaiah Denis. Pac, I'm so excited to get into it. Why don't you take us through the Zay Denis Bioblast?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we've got Isaiah Zay Denis, class of 2025. He's a combo guard. Jersey number is to be determined. He wore 2 in high school, but currently that's what James Brown is wearing. So hopefully we'll be figuring that out soon with a little roster release. Hometown, Concord, North Carolina. Davidson Day High School. AAU team was CP3. Love this right here. His height is 6'5", so it's really good positional size. Weight 175. 4-star recruit out of high school. Consensus was 74 overall. ESPN had him at 60. Rivals had him at 150, and 24/7 Sports had him at 53. Isn't that funny how they can vary so much?
No, here's what I'm wondering, Pac. I'm wondering if Rivals just they never did a final update or something, because it's insanity to have him that low. Like, I'm not saying he should be top 20 or top 25, but in that 50 to 60 range like the others seems to make more sense.
Yes, completely agree. Accolades for Zay, 2024 state champ. Welcome to the club, Zay.
Not me. That's Pac.
Date of commitment was November 2nd, 2024. He chose Carolina over Ohio State, Wake Forest, as well as Pitt, Miami, and Tennessee, who were in the mix also. And here we go. Twitter handle. This is pretty good. At Isaiah_Denis2. The name and his number. Pretty simple. Instagram gets a little bit more dicey here. Actually, no, it doesn't. It's at Zay_Denny. So little bit of he uses the nickname and then a little bit of a mix up with the last name. But I think he's pretty simple overall. What about you?
Yeah, I'm thinking back to last week where Caleb Wilson's Twitter handle is great. Well, Caleb Wilson 2025, and then his Instagram is like C.dub with 3 B's. So Isaiah is like a step up from that. So I think you gave C-Dub a 5.5 on Instagram. So Zay_Denny, I think, is a little bit north of that, but it can't be like a 7 or maybe in the 6 range or something like that, Pac.
Yeah, I was thinking 6.5, somewhere.
Yeah.
In there.
So we'll give him that because I want to leave some headroom when it's really good and really simple. Isaiah_Denis2. I'm probably at an 8 or a 9 on that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And something everyone's got to be aware of, Denis only has one end. Don't mess it up and you won't find him. Yeah. So there you go. There's the Bioblast. Way to go, Pac. Thanks for taking us through that. Here's the first question I want to ask about Isaiah Denis. And it goes back to what you said about those rankings and him being consensus 74, outside the top 50 everywhere. Clearly, though, is a very talented young man, just, hasn't yet fully maxed out that potential. So the question is, Pac, and it's all part of all the conversations we have right now, in this day and age of collegiate athletics, where he could come for a year, not get a bunch of playing time and leave. In this day and age, will someone like him stick around and develop? What do you think?
Man, I think those types of questions are just case-by-case scenarios.
True.
It's so unpredictable. You'd like to think that these kids would, and you would like to think also that the coaching staff has been upfront and honest with them about what they're getting themselves into, and not promising playing time and all these things, but more so saying, hey, when you get here, we're going to do this, and this to your game. And it may take a year or two for that to happen. But when it does happen, we're going to utilize you in a big way. And then I think kids are more prone to stick around because they know exactly what they're committing to. They know what they have to get done before they can, really get in and compete and play meaningful minutes. There's other instances, there's plenty of them, where coaches have fed them a line of, hey, you're going to come here and compete to play right away, and blah, blah, blah. And then that doesn't happen, and then they're in the transfer portal. So I think that does factor into it. By all accounts, Isaiah Denis seems like a great kid. He does have some things that he does need to tune up and work on before I can see him playing meaningful minutes for North Carolina. But he also has potential to be somebody very important for Carolina in the future. So he does some great things that I think could be very useful for the Tar Heels moving forward. So we'll see. I hate to say one way or the other because it's, like I said, it's very unpredictable.
I think that's the perfect way to talk about it, Pac. That first phrase you used, case-by-case basis, and I think Isaiah Denis would certainly fit into that of what is most important to him, what matters, how does this year go? As you said, how upfront has the coaching staff been with him? And I think that's the good thing about the Carolina coaching staff is they don't, they are very open and honest with guys about what they will be able to do and won't be able to do. And I really think if he could buy into dude, come in and develop, he might be undervalued or overlooked a little bit currently, but it seems like there's a ton of potential. You talked about the size and the athleticism. If he would be committed to sticking around, could be a multi-year high-level player for the Tar Heels, and that could be massive. Pac, it feels like there's some guys in the past couple of years, it's like, oh, that dude has talked about staying around and developing, can't wait to see it. And then they leave. I remember Tyler Nickel. That was kind of his case. And then other guys, it's like, oh, I could totally understand if he left. And then they end up staying. DeMarco Dunn is an example of that I remember. And so, like you said, it's just so hard to know. But I'm really hopeful because I think there's a lot there with Isaiah Denis if he stays.
Yeah, absolutely there is.
Well, Pac, we got to get in more to what makes that possible. His strengths, his weaknesses. What was Hubert Davis's initial recruiting evaluation as Carolina announced the signing of Isaiah Denis? That's where we're headed next. All that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Game Time, have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game, maybe with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize man, I'd love to go take in a Niner or whatever it is. Well, that's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on that, man, you could splurge on drinks or snacks or merch or whatever you want to do. Game Time is what makes all that possible. Game Time also makes buying your tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app, if you watch them, they actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And they've got incredible last minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that's going to take all the worry and stress out of buying. I was looking up because I was like, man, we're so close to Labor Day. It's coming. Tickets for that Carolina hosting TCU to open the season. Right now, a low get-in price of $159, but keep tracking it because it'll probably go down. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Pac, we're now going to talk strengths and weaknesses, at least as we see them in the summer here in the offseason leading into the season, about Isaiah Denis. I also want to give you a quote from Coach Davis from the press release when Carolina announced the signing of Isaiah Denis and get your take on his thoughts. He says, quote, Isaiah is an athletic wing that can score on all three levels and will immediately give us the versatility needed out there on the floor. He's a great student, and it means something to him to play in his home state, end quote. Pac, what do you take away from that?
Well, I love that. I particularly like the last part of that, the pride that he has of, staying and playing in his home state for the flagship university in his state. I think that's a big deal. There should be a level of pride to that, and I think of Jarin Stevenson coming back home to do the same thing, so we've got some in-state kids that this means something a little bit different to them. And I love that. But overall, totally agree with what Coach Davis said. He is an athletic wing. He does have the capability of scoring the ball. He does bring versatility to the table. So he definitely has some good things going on.
Man, that's good. So, Pac, let's move into his strengths, some more specific details on that. The way we always ask this, folks, on the roster preview series is we say, he could play with the incoming freshman anyway. He could play in college already because of this skill. What is it for you?
For me, I'm going to say his ability to shoot. When you look at his EYBL stats, 6 attempts per game from beyond the arc at 36%. And to be honest with you, when you watch him play, a lot of those were like unwarranted. They were tough, contested shots. When he gets his feet set, and he's able to just catch and shoot, man, he can really shoot it well. And I think that's something that could, benefit Carolina. I don't know if it'll be this year, but at some point it will. I guess we'll get into weaknesses here in a minute. But the biggest thing I think that he does well, aside from things that we've already mentioned, like his athleticism and versatility, I would say is shooting. And I think when you can shoot the ball, you've got a chance to be on the court.
Man, yes. What do you, Pac? I've been trying to think about this for a while. I think I'm getting it a little bit figured out, but what do you have to do to win basketball games?
You have to score the ball. You got to put the ball in the hoop.
Oh, interesting. And you're saying that he can do that?
He can do that a little bit.
Man, that's interesting. So maybe he can find his way onto the floor. The question, as you said, how much will that be this year? We'll address that more in a little bit. But Pac, I think to your point, specific to this year's roster, because of some of that inside gravity with Henri Veesaar and Caleb Wilson, or even if they spread and have that gravity, we expect there to be a more balanced three-pointing attack from this team in its entirety. And if he has opportunities on the floor and can just settle in and ball, like trust himself, it'll be there. And even if there are closeouts, as you said, there's the athleticism, there's the speed that kind of set him apart as well, that can allow him to drive and get to the rim. Sure, maybe he's not quite as sure-handed dribbling, we'll get to there. Sorry. But like as Coach Davis says, that's scoring at all three levels. And so that gives him some really unique possibilities that the sooner he can harness, the more floor time he will get. Pac, anything else on strengths before we flip to weaknesses and what he needs to work on?
I would just maybe touch a little bit, like we've talked on, positional size and versatility. I think he and athleticism and speed, he can bring some good things to the table defensively as well.
Yeah. You talked about it in his Bioblast with him being 6'5", whether that's playing the 2 or the 3, just more size for the Tar Heels. And I feel like that's probably the theme of this offseason is, man, they're big. And that's good. And so in fact just they're big, and that could be a huge asset for this team. Pac, let's flip to weaknesses now. The opposite side of the could play already because of this skill. He won't see the floor in college yet as much as he wants to because blank. What do you think?
Turnovers. These two things go hand in hand to me. Turnovers. I believe, if I remember right, his EYBL stats, he was 2.4 assists to 2.3 turnovers. So he's just barely positive on that assist to turnover ratio. But he's going to have to shore that up. But where I'm going with this is, and why I think this partners up, is he needs to add some size and strength to his frame. Yeah. And I think teams have been able to be physical with him and kind of knock him off of his line, get him uncomfortable. And as he climbs to this next level, he's going to have to hook up with Jonas Saracen and get after it in the weight room, because I think that's going to play hand in hand with him taking care of the ball better and helping him adapt to this next level as well.
Man, that's good. Yeah, a lot of these dudes come in with needing some meat on those bones, and Jonas says, "Come on, boys, let's get after it," and that's good. Pac, one of the things I've noticed some in his game, and I also feel like I remember reading it in one of the recruiting evaluations of him. Maybe it was from 247's Adam Finkelstein. I can't remember for sure. Forgive me. But it is something that I specifically remember Cole Anthony saying about Elliot Cadeau coming into his freshman year was that Elliot's speed and capability with the ball is so fast. But what he hasn't learned how to do yet is shift gears. It's always in fourth or fifth gear. And that gear is going to be made more effective if he's able to utilize first or second gear or third gear more as well. I've seen some of that with Isaiah Denis. I feel like I've also read it in some of the evaluations of him. And so that is such a next level thing, right? That is so hard to learn. I guess a few people have it instinctively, but man, when you can stop and start and slow down and hostage dribble and things like that to just keep the defense guessing when you're off or on the ball, man, that puts you in a much better position. Pac, anything on that or other things more on the weakness side of things?
No, I completely agree with what you just said about changing speeds and directions and all the different things. That's going to be something, like when I was growing up playing basketball, and I'm not comparing myself to North Carolina basketball players by any means, but I played pickup ball with a lot of older men. And you learn things from them, right? Because they've been playing the game for a long time. And one of those things is, you can watch a 40-year-old drop 30 on you because he knows how to change speeds and do all these different things. And where I'm going with this is he needs to hook up with some of these vets in the program and learn those things, how to change speeds, how to get open, how to create space for yourself, how to operate under pressure. Those things like that, they're going to help him a ton as he grows in his game.
Because guess what? The more he does that, the more he gets on the floor, right? And that's what you want to do. Also, that whole thing you just said made me really sad because you were talking about these old guys that are 40 and getting buckets. I am that, Pac. I'm 41, and so I was like, "Dadgummit, I'm old. I'm the wily veteran at the YMCA that has knee pads or something." Man, that's so sad, but it is very true of me. So. Man, good assessment there of Isaiah Denis, both the strengths and weaknesses. Excited to see it, man. I know we said it already. I think there's a lot of potential with him, man, and I'm really excited to see what will happen. Speaking of which, what role will Zay Denis get to play in year one, and what are our bold predictions for his first year as a Tar Heel? All coming up in just a second. Pac, I love these things we've installed in the third segment of the roster preview series, talking about expected role, expected minutes per game, 3 things to work on this summer, bold predictions, over-under. So we're going to tackle each one of those as we wrap the show today. So let's next move to talking about Isaiah Denis's expected role in minutes per game in his freshman year. What are your thoughts on that right now?
Well, I think the situation that Isaiah is coming into, it's really going to be pretty tough for him to find, significant, consistent minutes on the court because the guys ahead of him are just either better, more experienced. They've been there, they've done that, or they've earned it a little bit more. So I think he's going to be a bench player. I expect his role to be and a fantastic practice player. Come in, make your teammates better, work on your game. It's going to take you a year before you're ready to hop into that rotation. And I think, like going back to what we talked about before, I think he probably knows that. The staff probably knows that. we're coming into a development year for sure. And that's okay. I think that's a great thing. And I think with those guys, what's going to be really important for him in his role is to buy into that because he can do things. He can make a great – I hate to label it like this, but it's the truth. He can make a great practice player. And as far as making his teammates better and preparing them for their time on the court. But while doing that, he's making himself better. If that makes sense.
Right. It makes all the sense. Yes.
It's sometimes when you say that, it makes them feel like they're less meaningful, on the roster. That's not necessarily what I'm implying. I think he's going to be a really good player for Carolina. I just think it needs to be important for him to help his teammates get prepared. And in doing so, it's going to make him better.
And it all goes back to what you said in the first segment about in this day and age, who is going to be willing to bide their time and wait their turn versus just leaving and going. And I don't discredit either thing. Like, if you want to go play now, I get you. If you'd rather say, I'm going to stay and play with one of the best elite programs in the nation, learn under them and wait my turn, good on you too, right? Like, you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Isaiah Denis, clearly a bench player this year. The question is where on the bench? Coach Rob and I talked about this. I think it was on yesterday's show about, it seems like there's a pretty solid top 7. Oh, I think it was actually last Thursday's show with Coach Rob. Now let's say that a pretty specific top 7. And for me, that would be some combination of Caleb Wilson, Henri Veesaar, Seth Trimble, Kyan Evans, Luka when he eventually gets to campus, Jarin, Stevenson, and Jonathan Powell, right? Like, that feels like a pretty solid top 7. After that, the other 5 that are on the roster right now are these 2 other freshmen, Derek Dixon, who we'll talk about next week, Isaiah Denis, James Brown, Jaden Young, and Zayden High. I think Zay is going to be in contention for like a top 9 spot, maybe in that. I think, just on paper, I think he's probably ahead of Jaden Young and James Brown. The question is contending maybe top 10 alongside Derek Dixon and Zayden High. That's just my evaluation on it. Obviously, things could play out and change differently, right? But that's where I would see it right now. Of course, something Coach Rob has said is like, hey, when I was talking to Hubert this summer, he said, I'd really like to go 10 deep this year. I appreciate that, but that's also something that we hear Hubert Davis say a lot, and we'll see what actually transpires with Carolina's depth. So, Pac, all of that said about Zay's role, what are your expected minutes per game from him?
My guess is somewhere between 6 to 8 minutes.
Okay. I think that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in like that. If I had to put like just one number on it, I would guess probably 6 minutes per game.
I think that's probably an accurate description. And here's something. Some of this, I guess, would be schedule specific, because with Carolina playing more bye games this year and non-con, there's hopefully, good grief, hopefully, more opportunities for more depth to play more minutes. And so that, honestly, as we're talking about it, obviously we've got to consider that factor as well. All right, Pac, how do you see him fitting in with the roster around him? Obviously, we said it off the top. It's pretty full backcourt, although, a lot of question marks in the backcourt that we're still waiting to see ironed out.
Yeah, I think he's going to fit in well. Where I think he struggles, and we've kind of talked about this already, is Isaiah is limited to me, he's playing the 2 for Carolina because he lacks that strength and ability to handle the ball, and he is more turnover prone. It kind of takes away some of the versatility that he brings to the table. And I think, so for right now, I think how he fits in is he can get in, he can shoot the ball, and he's going to be dependent on others to create for him, essentially. Yeah. But I think he can bring some good things to the table because of his ability to shoot. He opens things up for others.
Yeah, I like that, man. Very well said. All right. 3 things for Zay Denis to work on as he settles in to Chapel Hill.
I think the first thing that he needs to work on is just adding muscle tone, adding some weight, getting stronger. I think that's got to be priority number 1. Because that's going to positively affect a whole lot of other areas in his game just based on that one single thing. Secondly, I think it's probably going to be the adjustment to the pace of play, the adjustment to physicality. And where I'm going with this is the fact that he has been turnover prone. Those adjustments are going to be super important. He needs to be playing as much as he possibly can, whether it's pickup, in practice, after practice, before practice. He needs to be getting reps in with those guys, trying to figure out what is this pace of play like? What is this physicality like? How can I make good decisions in a fast pace? All of those things. And then the third thing I would say is just, finding his niche and starting to find a way to like fit in with or gel, because like I was just talking about with how does he fit in with the guys around him? We know he can shoot. He's going to be able to come in and catch and shoot. What else can he do? And I mean, how else can you contribute to the team? Those are the three things I think he probably needs to be focused on the most. There's kind of a multitude of things you could pick from, but I would go with those three right there.
I love it. Great stuff. All right, Pac. Next up, bold predictions for Isaiah Denis's freshman year at Carolina. I just made you talk a lot, so I'll go ahead and give mine and then let you follow up with it. My bold prediction for Isaiah Denis is that he's going to shoot 37% from beyond the arc. My reason for that, and obviously with bold predictions, as we always say, is it something that isn't the more likely outcome. It should be a stretch, right? And so the reason I say that, though, I kind of alluded to it earlier. I think there's so much attention focused elsewhere, the other players on the court, that when he's out there, I think that opens up some opportunities for him to have relatively easy looks. But even if not, as you said earlier, he's been able to make a lot of contested looks in his time in high school and AAU basketball. Obviously, it will probably be a little bit of a smaller sample size this year, so maybe that lends itself to some fluctuation in that percentage. But I like this. And if he can hit 37%, no matter how big that sample size is, I think that puts Carolina in a great spot, Pac. What about you? Bold prediction.
My bold prediction is going to be that Isaiah Denis has 3 games this season where he makes 3 or more threes.
Ooh.
So I think he's a streaky catch and shoot kind of guy. And, with the non-conference schedule being a little bit different than it has been in the past, and I think Carolina's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to have a chance to play in some of those games. And I'm predicting he's going to catch fire and hit three games with 3 or more made threes.
I like that. I think you think back to this year with Cade Tyson, and it's like, boy, the moments were bigger than him. And the athleticism felt bigger than him. And I think that's not probably the case with Isaiah Denis, right? He's got experience, he's got the bravado and the experience, and he'll be able to settle in and do that. All right, Pac. Last thing, our over-under for Isaiah Denis. Both our bold predictions had to do with three-point shooting, and this does as well. I went with a percentage, you went with a total number, and that's what we're doing here. The over-under, Isaiah Denis's freshman season, over-under 25 made three-pointers. What do you think?
I'm slightly taking the under here. I see him getting somewhere between 20 and 23. I just don't know. Once conference play hits, I don't know if he's going to play quite enough to get to that 25 mark. So I'm slight under.
That's where I'm at as well. I don't think there are probably enough shots for him this year is the way I would say it. I think if the minutes were there, he would certainly do it. But I hope the minutes are there. That would be awesome. That would mean, hello, sleeper guy out of the woodwork. But I don't necessarily see that right now. And so I think I would ultimately take the under as well, Pac. Great stuff on Zay Denis. We're very excited to see what he can bring to the table, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Excited to see what jersey number he has. Maybe he paid James Brown all his rev share money and he'll get number 2. We'll see what happens with that. Pac, any last closing words from you on Isaiah Denis?
No, I think we've pretty well covered it all. I am excited, though, to see the initial thing we talked about was, is a kid like him going to be willing to stick around and develop and eventually become a significant player? I'm really excited to find out the answer to that. I think if he does, he really could help us out in the long run. Man,
that's a good way to bookend this thing with that same talking point, because I'm right with you. Folks, it's been great to be together to doing this again, second installment of the roster preview series. We have a playlist of all of them on YouTube. You can go back and check out Caleb Wilson's if you missed it. Next week, Pac and I will hit Derek Dixon to wrap up the freshman class. If you've not subscribed to Locked On Tar Heels on video and audio, make sure you do that so you don't miss a second of the show and to help continue spreading the reach of the show. If you're not part of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord family, man, we'd love to have you in there. It's a great community of Tar Heels. Come be in it. The link is in the show notes. If you want to go deeper with the show, deep dives on all of my stats, charts, data, one-on-one conversations with me and other perks, man, would love to have you there. That link is also in the show notes, and it's also a great way to help support the show. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll be back again tomorrow to keep the week rolling, but until then, Pac, tell 'em.
Peace.